Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 100th episode of Going Nuclear, full blown coverage of the land, right here live on the Fanatical Elves Network, a part of Fans First Sports Network. Ethan Greenberg here, and alongside of me is my co host, Mike Rasinski. Mike, how are you this evening? How has the summer been treating you and your vacation?
Yeah, doing great. Happy to hear this has been the 100th episode. Honored to be on the 100th episode with you. I know I haven't been on for all 100, but you've got quite a legacy going with this thing. So thanks for
I've
having
got
me on
something. I
again.
don't know if it's a legacy.
Oh, it's definitely a legacy. Not a lot of things last 100 episodes. I mean, the Guardians can barely last 100 games, let alone 100 episodes, but we'll get there, I'm sure. But yeah, summer's going good. We finally got a little break. Kids' sports are done for the spring. They're enjoying the summer, and I think, like I said a few weeks ago, got back from San Francisco and got to go see the Giants park out there, see the Guardians play and lose 2-1 to the Giants.
How was the park?
So I will tell you, excluding the Jake, and I'll still call it the
Mhm.
Jake. That is my
Yes.
new number one favorite park. I would go Oracle Park in San Francisco number one, and then Pittsburgh number two, which we've also visited earlier this year. But we sat right behind home plate, but up on the third deck, and you just have a great view of the Pacific Ocean. Really, it's the bay, but it's the ocean just beyond the stadium, and it's pretty amazing to think. Like normally, you go to a stadium and it's a city view, or it's just some buildings or something. This is the first time I've been to a stadium where it's just an open view of just open water, which is pretty cool.
That
The
is.
kids got excited because as we were walking up the long staircase to get to our decks on the third level, they saw the guy in the kayak and they go like, "That's Dave! That's Dave!" I'm like, "Who is Dave?" And like, "Dave, we've seen him on YouTube videos. He apparently is the guy in the canoe, and he has this little montage that goes in and gets all the balls that are hitting into McCovey Cove." And he has videos of stealing it from other people that are like struggling to get the ball, and he'll swoop in and get it. And so they go, "Hey, Dave," from the top of the third deck, and Dave goes, "Hey," and he waves back to him. So they got a kick out of that.
That is
They met Dave.
awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. What else did you catch out there while you're on vacation? What other fun things did you do?
So we did all the San Francisco things. We walked the Golden Gate Bridge. We visited Alcatraz. We saw Lombard Street, the very really curvy street. And then at the last day, we stayed by the Fisherman's Wharf. And the last day, we watched the 2014 Godzilla movie with the boys because in that movie, Godzilla comes, destroys the Golden Gate Bridge, and then wreaks havoc on San Francisco. If you've never seen it, and so we got to show all the boys the landmarks that we just saw in real life get destroyed by Godzilla. So they thought that was fun.
That's pretty awesome. And I mean, you talk about that Superman movie, which was filmed in Cleveland last year, is going to be coming out, and you saw the landmarks last year. So yeah,
Yep. Well, to go see that. Well, I'll tell you one of the highlights of the trip too was it was only 65 degrees. We were wearing sweatshirts the whole week, which is hear about the heat dome over here on the East Coast. It was a nice little break from that.
yeah. I mean, I was in Ohio last week, and it was hot as blazes there. I mean, it was in the 90s. We got into We drove a week ago Friday. We drove part of the way up, or most of the way. We stopped in Columbus overnight and then went up to Toledo to my brother for my niece's graduation party on Saturday. And it was hot. And even the first few days in Cleveland, it was gross. The only good thing was it's not the humidity that we are accustomed to
Yeah.
here in the Commonwealth of
Well,
Virginia. So
and how was your trip to the ESPN Cleveland event?
you know what? The ESPN Cleveland event was amazing. Fantastic time. Got to talk to all the radio personalities that we listen to, on the regular there. It's always funny. You get a picture next to a guy like, Gerard Cherry. That dude is a a mass of humanity. It's amazing how big that dude is, and he played defensive back
Wow.
and he is gigantic.
Still gigantic.
Yeah, he is still. I mean, just the muscles. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But all in all, it was a fantastic time. Um, meeting other people there who listen to the show and being able to connect on that level is fantastic, as well as again, all of the personalities from, Gerard Cherry, Emmett Golden, Nick Paulus, Aaron Goldhammer, all Rizzo, Paul, everybody. It's just a good time. So thank you for asking. And we got to visit with family, see some friends as well. We made it up to the Guardians game, the one game they won
Yes.
on the homestand.
Success.
Yeah, exactly. There you go, Mike. Yes, thank you for tuning in, Mike. Appreciate it. Yeah, Gerard's, like I said, he's beast. Just a beast there. Um,
I did see on Facebook you posted that was the first time you'd been to Swenson's.
with the kids, that was the
Oh,
first time the kids had been to Swenson's.
did the kids get a galley boy?
They did not go with the galley boy, which I did.
Yeah, as you should. This is the best hamburger ever made.
It's pretty darn good. It is pretty darn tasty. So that was their first Swenson's experience. I was glad to provide that to them. And you know what? You got to see Dave in the Bay, Dave in the Bay, as it were.
Yep.
I I, I saw our friend Alyss at
Oh,
the
that's
Guardians.
amazing.
It was our podcast guest, Alyss, who has graced going nuclear a couple times. Fantastic to see her. We had great seats, upper deck, just to the right, like just to the first base side of home plate, and it not
Can you
expensive at
can you
all. It was,
tell the differences with the renovations now? Because I haven't been back since they made all the upgrades.
I mean, I don't know what's really to tell. I mean, obviously the seats, most of the seats are blue. I
Okay.
didn't go to the air last year when we went. We sat in the lower deck in the right field corner, and all the people were there at the bars or whatever, where they're standing around and people are building pyramids of their beer cans to show how drunk they are. Um, but other than that, I really didn't know. Can't say that I noticed any differences. You look around and it's kind of cool. It's kind of sad though that the you know they sold out the stadium for 455 consecutive games,
Yeah.
and now they can't do that. They can barely get it sold out like 5 times a year, depending upon what they're giving away. And quite frankly, with the way the team is playing, no one's going there. And I think that actually brings us to a great first topic here, Mike. What what on earth? What has happened to the Guardians? What guards ball? What is it? How did we end up where we are? We're at 3 games under 500, and trade deadline's coming awfully quick.
Yeah, I remember at the beginning of the season we were talking about how amazing it is the AL Central has like three of the top five teams in all of baseball, and now we only have one team in the AL Central above 500. So we're not doing well, but at least we're doing better than the Twins and the Royals, I guess. I don't know if that's a consolation prize, but we're not. We're still in second place in the Central somehow after losing five in a row. But you're right, not playing guards ball. There's been this week, I think we had more errors than runs if you add them all up, which is just embarrassing. So they're not playing sound baseball. They're not hitting. Um, the the pitching when we actually do hit, that's the game the pitching gives up all their runs. The bullpen is average at best, and which that's not bad, but for this team, they have to be great for us to win. So just being not bad is not good enough. But really, the biggest disappointment to me is the lack of defense, all the errors, and then just the lack of hitting. So all the guys, the young guys we counted on last year, aren't doing anything this year. And so I don't know if that's a combination of like trading away Jimenez and Naylor, although Jimenez isn't hitting for Toronto right now, but his defense was great. It's not being able to pick a right fielder that can at least do anything. I mean, I just have it pulled up right now. We have the second worst batting average in all of baseball. We're only in front of the White Sox, which is saying something. And it's not even
It's
close. We're batting 225 as a team, which is just embarrassing. I think the league average is like 245, so it's not even close.
it's absolutely horrific. I mean, as Mike pointed out, 11 straight games with at least one error. You can't have that. Our margin for error, literally, is very small. It's very slim with this lineup. We can't outscore teams on the regular at this point. It's just sad, and I know it's not going to be the simple solution of bringing up everybody, the names. I'm sure you've heard it, and everyone talking about Chase DeLauder, CJ Cafis, blah, blah, blah. I don't know that that's the answer. I don't think that that's going to be an immediate solution. Sure, maybe they'll look all right, but we've already seen John Kenzie Noel looked lost at the plate, goes down to AAA, and he's mashing. So, can you really say that the pitching, the caliber of pitching down at AAA is not the same as at the majors, as at the big leagues? So I don't know that these guys hitting 300 plus down in AAA are going to come up to Cleveland and suddenly continue, or not suddenly, but be able to continue that kind of a pace here. It's difficult to do. That's why it's the major leagues, and so few guys survive in this league for as long as they do. Um, it's crazy. I mean, I'm not against like making a change because doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity. It's absolutely the definition of insanity. The pitching absolutely stinks. Did you see the quotes or headlines about Matthew Boyd, who beat our butts last night, saying
Yep.
that he was like, am I understanding correctly? He didn't want to leave Cleveland, but he wasn't offered.
That sounds crazy to me if we didn't even make him an offer. I don't know what the true story is behind that, but I mean, we saw enough from him last year that absolutely we should have offered him something, if that's the case. Yeah.
That's just sad. It's irresponsible. It's absolutely irresponsible. Um, I mean, I know this is partially a problem with the Guardians. It's partially a problem with the major league model in general. We've talked about it ad nauseum with the lack of a salary cap, the lack of a salary floor.
Mm.
Um, Let me ask you this hypothetical:
Okay.
if it meant that we would get a salary cap and a salary floor,
Mm-hmm.
and it would bring parity to the league, but in order for that to happen, there would have to be a strike for at least a season plus. Would it be worthwhile to you?
Oh, 100% yes. Because this needs to be fixed, and I would sacrifice 1 year for making the game better for hopefully generations to come. I would be pissed because I hate it when millionaires argue with
You love
billionaires.
baseball. You love baseball.
Yeah, I guess on the bright side, I'd save some money over that year because I wouldn't be going to games or paying to watch them on TV or whatever. And maybe I could pick up an extra hobby with all the free time of not watching baseball now. But yeah, that needs to be fixed. Baseball is making all these changes to improve the game: pitch clock, bigger bases. They're talking about bringing in an automated ball strike system, if that ever. So they're talking about all these little things. Why not talk about the big thing, which is really just not having a salary cap or a salary floor? That would change the game, and I think that would make it more interesting. I mean, I don't know what other people's thoughts were, but I loved seeing the mid-market teams, the small market teams in the NBA finals this year. I love that. And I don't maybe I'm an outlier, but I would love to see that in baseball too.
No, I don't think you are an outlier. The people who are complaining about it are the people who are in the larger markets or don't have a vested interest. First of all, the sports, the NBA, a lot of it has changed with, do you root for the team or do you root for the players? A lot of people, younger generations, are rooting for the players rather than the teams, whereas our generation is we root for the team.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, though, I think that having parity and where it's not simply who can outspend the rest that is going to have the best opportunity to win um, makes a huge difference. I
100%.
want to see. Look, you see what I'm sporting here? I'm sporting the Kenny Lofton shirt. Pick this up. Very nice. Very nice. I like this. At Rally House while I was in Ohio.
That is awesome.
But I did also pick up a brand
Nice.
new Flying G hat. I
I
had to
like it.
represent. Um, I just, it sucks. It really sucks. Our ownership, I can't stand it. I just can't stand it because they're going to be sellers. Whatever we have to sell, they're going to sell. We're going to get some magic beans in return.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we're still close in the wild card, the division, okay, that's not in that's kind of out of the question. But we still should be in the hunt for the wild card. And they'll basically be like, nah, well, we give up. We did it 2 years ago. We were one game out of first place for the division. And they're like, nah, we're not going to go. We're not going to take a chance and, try and see this through, get somebody in here to possibly go deep, make a postseason run. We're just going to sell right now. I don't get it. If you don't have the money to own the team, then you need to get out. You got to get out. It's asinine.
Yeah, I
Uh,
guess taking it, I'll just take. I personally agree with you, but I'm gonna take the devil's advocate viewpoint
okay.
here too. That if it's a business and you're running it like a business, and the objective of the business is to make money, you are going to put out a product that people are going to want to see. So yeah, of course, because that's how you make money. You get people in the stands, you get more people watching on TV, but you can't outspend whatever you get for TV revenue, for attendance. And that's the problem with these small market teams is they can only spend so much if they still want to make money. I imagine, I don't know what the profit margins are, but there has to be a cap where you spend so much, you try to sign a Shohei Ohtani or somebody, and now you're not making money for the next, 10 years
Right.
because you just can't support that.
Oh, I love it. That's a great point. You are, it's a bullseye. It's an absolute bullseye uh, in terms of what it is. It's a business. You're right. But at the same time, um, if MLB just needs to fix it.
Yep.
I think if they said, look, here's the floor, here's the ceiling, here's the cap, it will bring everything back into perspective. How about we get a better TV model,
Mm-hmm.
better so that we're not relying on the Yankees having the Yes Network and having all this revenue, whereas the Guardians and Twins or Royal, we're searching for a local regional TV carrier
And
to get some. It's just why
the
don't they just?
crazy
Why
thing,
doesn't MLB just control it all?
yeah, and the crazy thing to me is MLB is the outlier. Every other sport is the one with a salary cap and a salary floor. So there's that. Why are they the only league that doesn't do this and can't see the benefits of it? And then number two, for 95% of the players, they would benefit from a salary floor. It's only the 5% that get these 10, 15-year contracts that are benefiting from no salary
Yeah.
cap. So you would think the players would support that. And I don't understand why they don't want that either. I know the owners do, but it would benefit, I think, the majority of the players out there.
Yeah, I just it's sad. It's a sad season. I I like to look at a glass half full every once in a while, and I was hoping that the Guardians were not going to regress to the mean, and that last year wasn't a fluke. But it's pretty clear the holes that were there last year that they were able to somehow patchwork around are still there. Now, the Guardians do have Shane Bieber coming back. I wouldn't be in any hurry to get him back on the mound. If we can get him and have him in place for next season, I don't know I forget what the contract even
So
looks like.
let me ask you this, because his contract, it's a player option for next year. So he could come back and opt out. And if he opts out, we still owe him something like $4 million. Would you trade Shane Bieber? Say you trade him now before he even comes back. He's an unknown quantity right now with a lot
Mhm.
of upside. He's not going to do anything for us this season. He's not going to probably get us in contention. If you are going to sell, would you sell Bieber and sell him even before he comes back in case he re-injures himself or, comes back and he's a shell of the person he was?
I think that where they are right now, they may decide to do that. They may, in fact, decide to do that between him and, as Mike pointed out, Clase, maybe Lane Thomas.
So would
We
you
don't
get?
have a
So I think Lane Thomas, that's a no-brainer. This is his last year. Um, I think Bieber we can get rid of if we're gonna sell, and I think we probably should. What about Class A? I have some reservations about him because we have him on a super cheap deal for like 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah, I don't know I didn't know the contract details. If he's got value, though, I say I'm sorry. I think he's running out of gas.
Do
You
you?
can tell when a closer is hitting their end of their line. Last year was magic. Even the year before was pretty darn good. But uh, I'm out. We've seen this too many times. We've seen Joe Table. We've seen Wickman and Allen. You saw with guys like John Rocker. What about Troy Percival? You just
Mhm.
there's only so many Mariano Rivera's. I don't know. Let me ask you one final question on the guards. Oh, and Mike points out Santana is a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get anything for him, I don't know that we can though. I
I
really
mean,
don't
he's
know.
having a decent year and he's on a
He
1 year
is.
contract. I think that's a good point. I would probably do that,
Ugh.
especially since we have a replacement for him. Manzardo, I mean, get him some more playing time.
He does need to play. We need to know what we have in the guy at this juncture. I
Yeah.
mean, sorry, he needs more plate appearances. And since the problem being that Fry can only DH, he can't even he can't play in the field. That really it means you can't say okay, Fry, you're going to play in the field. Manzardo DHs. Well, if you put Fry at DH, then do you have Santana in? Do you have Manzardo in? I don't know. Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
Um, is Vogt going to survive the season?
Yes.
Will he be back next season?
Yes.
Okay.
This leadership group with the guards, the GM, CEO, all that, they've proven to be pretty patient and look at the long term, have the long term view instead of the short term. They're not like the Knicks where you just go to the Eastern Conference Finals and you fire your coach. I think they will weather a bad year knowing that I think they still have the right coach. I mean, he's got a lot of potential, and I don't know who's out there that's better than him right now. I don't think it's fair with the talent they gave him to really judge him on this season. I think it's way too early, and so I think it's a definitive yes, he'll be back. And I would be pissed if they got rid of him.
Right. Now, I heard this question earlier. I'm stealing it. So, because it is a good one, as you mentioned, what Vogt has done with the talent he has around him. Did he benefit from leftover Tito? And now it's like, okay, now it's on him. Do we know what it really is? And also, another question I kind of had is, Tito retired for his health, spent time with his grandkids, 1 year away, and suddenly he's back coaching, managing. Does that raise any question in your mind as to what he's thinking about the Guardians organization and their ability to compete? Although he went to Cincinnati, so I don't know.
He's doing pretty well with them, I believe, but I don't know. I think that's a lot of conspiracy theory.
Okay,
I mean, he really had some health concerns, and I believe that's true. And it seemed like he was happy in Cleveland. I mean, so Cincinnati's 44 and 42, but yeah, I was surprised to see him come back so soon. Like that that
and
did raise some questions, but I don't know. I don't think so.
okay, all right. Well, I will
What
leave
do you
it at
think? Are you buying into that?
that. Yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to conspiracy theory that. I just thought I'd ask the question because it popped into my head. It popped into my head, and I wondered. I'm like, kind of odd. But again, we look at a lot of coaches. They can't get out. They want back in. Urban Meyer, how many different times did he you know, retire, come back, retire, come, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
it's hard to get that out of your blood. The livelihood. It's everything.
Yeah. And I
Absolutely
imagine,
everything.
like, once you're at his age too, you realize you only have a few years left. Like, if he doesn't have kids at home anymore, so what are you gonna do with all your free time? He's like, might as well coach baseball.
Tito kept the Ohio Cup in his basement. Done for woof, woof. He's that with a scooter. Oh boy. All right. Well, let's take a brief pause here, and we will come back, and we're gonna jump into a new franchise coming to the land. We're going to take a timeout. You are tuned in to Going Nuclear, full blown coverage of the land right here on the Fanatical Elves Network, a part of Fans First Sports Network. And welcome back, everybody, to Going Nuclear, full blown coverage of the land right here on the Fanatical Elves Network. This is the 100th episode. What do you think, Mike? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, there. Okay, enough of that. This is more like what we normally hear. All right, so they finally made the announcement official, Mike. the WNBA is returning to the land in 2028. Detroit will be back in 2029. They had a franchise before. In fact, I think my cousin, who's out in California, I think he worked for the Detroit franchise.
Really?
And then Philadelphia in 2030. Um, so, I mean, it's not like we didn't know this was going to be happening. Um, what do you think? I mean, what's your initial thought about the WNBA expanding and it coming back to Cleveland?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. I I was a little surprised to hear. I mean, I know we kind of knew this was happening, but I was still a little surprised to hear Cleveland was one of the first cities to get an expansion, and they'll be the first one to come back. Because you see all the other cities that had bid, and essentially Cleveland beat them out. You know, Houston, who has a great WNBA history and is a
Yes,
bigger city,
absolutely.
a bigger media market. Where Austin, which has been searching for another major league team, Denver. Um,
They already stole their and what I can't even think the women's soccer. They already
oh
stole
yeah, yeah, and I'd rather have WNBA than women's soccer. So I think that's a net win. So yeah, so a little surprised, but a good surprise. Happening, it shows the investment that Gilbert's putting into the city and to the franchise because they'll have one of the best training facilities I heard in the WNBA.
Right. I heard they're going to retrofit the current Independence facility where the Cavs are. They're going to retrofit that for the WNBA franchise. Still no name yet, and that's next on the list. I was going to ask Mike. Thank
Although
you.
we do need to comment on this. Yeah, I agree. We need to just will it into existence that you are going to be the next radio voice or television voice of the Cleveland Rockers or other name.
I appreciate it. I am trying to speak it into existence. I will do whatever I have to. I'm tweeting at people every day. Have you seen those people? Mike, you're not on the social media so much, but there's people that'll be like day one of asking for blah blah blah. Should I like do a thing every day where I do day one, of campaigning to be the voice of the Cleveland's WNBA franchise. Day two, WNBA. All I'm asking for is an interview.
I
Give
can't.
me an opportunity to talk to somebody and really because it's not just about it's one thing to do a good job because you're a professional. But when you love the city and you have passion for it, that's where the difference is. And Cleveland has been so lucky, as we've discussed many times, to have the broadcast professionals we've had doing our games. That's where I'd like to be, and that's all I ask is I could have an opportunity, an interview to try to be in that position. Um, do you want them to, at another hot topic? Do you want them to go with Rockers? Would you? Is there another name you would consider that pops into your head? That you go, huh? That would be the essence of Cleveland. Um, anything that's come to your mind?
Well, I like the idea of starting fresh, of getting a new name. I'm not against them coming back with the Rockers, but I think it would be kind of cool to have something new. And now that it's been 20 plus years since we've had the franchise, the city's changed a little bit. Maybe there's something else that because back then that's when we first got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not
Yes,
thereafter. So that was the
exactly.
big thing. Um, so I don't really have anything off the top of my head, but I need to think about this. Maybe we should come back next week and we'll have a list of ideas
Yes.
for
All
a
right.
name.
We're gonna table the WNBA team name discussion until next week. Um, okay. Did you see though? Hey, Cleveland is already back in the news for the WNBA because one Sophie Cunningham of the Indiana Fever, who's from like Missouri, decided to mouth off and talk smack about, the cities where the WNBA is expanding and talking trash about Cleveland, Detroit, etc., not being places you want to go. And she couldn't even identify the city right. She said Cincinnati, not Cleveland. And we certainly don't want to go to Cincinnati, so I completely understand that. Um, but the point being, like, where do these people come up with this stuff? Who is she?
And you said she's with the Fever?
Yeah, she's
Like,
with the Indiana Fever. She's become popular lately. She's been a she's had Caitlin Clark's back.
I would love to hear her opinion of what Indianapolis is like if she doesn't like Detroit and Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. She's playing in Indianapolis. I just I don't know what she's talking. And she's from. I think they were looking it up yesterday, and they were saying she's from like Missouri, somewhere in Missouri.
So
She
she
was
probably
somewhere
just
in
wants to go. She wants to go to Miami or LA or something. I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly. I'm like, what do you, it's not about those cities, they're bigger markets, but you want to talk about good sports cities, talk to the athletes who play in Cleveland. Go talk to Donovan Mitchell. Go talk to Darius and Evan, etc. I mean, they're all going to tell you how amazing the ownership is, how amazing the fans are. Give me a break. Get out of here with this nonsense. Miami, they barely show up. They leave. You know, it's a bit ridiculous. Now, this is funny. Imagine if she ends up getting traded to us or selected during the expansion draft. That would be great.
Just out
I
of
will.
spite. Yes.
Yes, I love it. I mean, I wanted to ask, are you even going to be in the league in 2028?
Mm.
Sophie Cunningham is a 6'1 guard. She went to the University of Missouri, drafted in 2019 to Phoenix. So this is her, what did I count here? I think this is her seventh season. She's played in 11 games, 0 starts, 5.6 points a game, 4.1 boards, less than an assist, and 1 steal a game. You're not exactly lighting the world on fire, lady.
Yeah. Nope. I think we may not be seeing her in 2028.
Yeah, she'll be lucky if she's still in the league.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that all pans out. But I'm definitely excited for that. I think that everything coming to Cleveland, as we talked, as I talked to Gina Prodan Kelly with the WPSL Pro, the Women's Professional Soccer League coming to downtown Cleveland, and then adding the WNBA back, that's going to really be helpful for women's sports is growing. In fact, don't women make up more of the population in the United States than men? Am I
I don't know.
remembering that correctly?
We'll have to ask Google.
Yeah, I'll have to ask them. I don't know. I thought at one point, or at least at some point, they outnumbered us. It's not exactly a good ratio here. I'm not liking that. Got to check that out. No, seriously though, I think this will be fantastic. Definitely looking forward to it. Um, the the NBA finals came, they went, they actually ended while we've been since we've last been on. Um, and now we're into free agency. Welcome to the second apron for the
Mm.
Cavs.
Yep.
Um,
And just to put a pin on it, yes, there are more females than males in the U.S. I just googled it.
all right. So hey, needless to say, they are showing out in their athletic abilities and they're darn good.
Yeah.
I'm not, I know there's people who've crapped on women's professional sports, but that's just that ain't right. They're
No, I agree. I think it's great.
it's
Great for Cleveland.
different. Maybe it's not the same, but it's and you're seeing different skill levels, but they're daggone good.
Yep.
They're daggone good, and they work just as hard as anybody else. So credit where credit is due. Um, the Cavs started off with a little bit of a splash or unexpected move. Isaac Okoro traded to the Bulls for Lonzo Ball. I know Heather was very upset about Okoro being traded. She's a big Okoro guy, or girl, I should say. I mean, he sent her some signed shoes and everything.
Hmm.
Uh, I heard a great one, and it's tough. You don't want to laugh, but you kind of have to laugh. I guess somebody was talking on like a YouTube chat or whatever, and they called Isaac Okoro Isaac No Scoro.
Well, in the playoffs, that's true.
He was an offensive liability. Loved the guy and his defensive effort, but it just didn't fit. It just didn't fit. What do you think about the move to get Lonzo Ball and trading Isaac Okoro to the Bulls?
Well, I can see why they did it. Like Okoro is a known quantity. I think he didn't do bad in the regular season, but we're kind of done with playing for good regular season accolades. We got to show up in the playoffs. And for the past 2 seasons, he did not do well in the playoffs. And he was kind of a forgotten member on the bench. Where Lonzo Ball, he's got a lot of upside. The downside is also pretty big too with that injury history. So it's a big risk. But at this point, it's a low risk gamble to get somebody with a lot of upside now that is apparently healthy. So I understand it, and I'm okay with it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm absolutely okay with it. I like the move. I nothing against Isaac Okoro. It's just he didn't fit, and he became they could leave him alone in the corner. They weren't afraid of him. I don't understand why they didn't do something different with him offensively. Why didn't they get him in at the bucket? Why is he stay? I know that you want to stretch the floor, but that's not who he is. And although his injury this season derailed him, he was doing well. He was shooting better.
Mm.
After that injury, never was the same. I like the Lonzo Ball addition. And here's the added bonus: big baller brand, big baller brand. We got LeVar Ball.
Well, what I've heard too is that he's actually a pretty humble guy, and he's not at all like like
Like his
his
dad.
dad, which is he's a good culture fit from what I've been told too.
I think so as well. He played well. He did well at UCLA. He's generally done well, other than his dad having running his mouth and talking a lot of stuff. He's been pretty solid. He doesn't need to be a superstar. He's going to need to come and fill a role.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the roles we're going to have to fill now is Ty Jerome walks away.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, did you hear that he says they never even came to him with an offer?
So I do wonder because I read an article earlier in the week too that the Cavs were kind of done with Jerome after they saw him play in the playoffs and wanted. And it wasn't just as we all saw the offensive struggles, but this was on the defense on how he rated with some of their internal stats, like the worst defensive player on the floor of like any player that played in the playoffs this year. And I don't know why that was this year because it didn't seem like he was that bad in the regular season. But yeah, I heard the Cavs were kind of done with him after seeing that and seeing the defensive drop off that he had, which kind of surprises me a little
I
bit.
thought he was great. I always felt like, oh, he's scrappy, he's energetic, he's out there, he's causing issues, but I guess not. I mean, do you think there was other stuff going on behind the scenes in the locker room that maybe we didn't see? And maybe an attitude issue that wore thin on people, and then they're like, all right, forget it. This guy, he just pooped the bed in the playoffs at the biggest moment.
See,
We're out.
I would have liked to see him hang on, see the Cavs hang on to him for two reasons. One, he's only had this one small sample size of the playoffs. He's proven himself in the regular season. Are we going to cut him too loose just because of 5 games with Indiana? Because I don't think he didn't do that bad against Miami, if I remember right. I
No,
don't remember.
I think he had an awesome game. Maybe it might have been game one. They scored like 30 points. He was amazing. He was amazing. But
Well, and then the other thing is if we would have signed him and really don't have faith in him, we could have used that as a trade chip to get somebody else because now that we're in the second apron, there's all these restrictions on who you can trade. It almost has to be a one-for-one swap. And if you're paying them 14 million or whatever, 13 million, that's another 13, 14 million dollar player you can get from another team. We
right.
can't do that right now. So that would have been a trade asset. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And let's see, Mike Wendy's, our buddy Brian Windhurst said more of being Lonzo or Jerome, hence the trade, as Lonzo is actually a good defender. And the size is what we need. We got killed. They're talking, you got KD, LeBron, and Steve Nash doing a podcast talking about basically hunting little small guards such as DG. But Sam Merrill is coming back. Oh, yeah.
It almost looked like to me we picked Merrill over Jerome,
He
which is
tries
interesting.
really, really hard.
Yeah. He's like Steve Kerr Jr. You know, not quite as talented, but
Yeah, I don't know that Michael Jordan is giving Sam Merrill the shot that he gave Steve Kerr in the
probably
finals.
not. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I
We'll have
like
to
him though. I like Merrill.
He's fine. Just
He'll be making a lot of money over the next 4 years.
yeah, it's actually not a bad deal. I don't mind it. Larry Nance Jr. returning.
Yeah, I
Love
forgot
that.
how
I
old he was.
love that.
They like signed him for the veterans minimum. Said he's been playing for what, like he's like 32 or 33. Like I didn't realize he was that old. He's like going to be the oldest guy on the team besides.
T tops.
Yeah, right. So, and yeah, so that's nice. That's nice to have him back.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad. I think he can add some toughness. He's got
Yeah,
experience. He can add some toughness. I like it. I do like that move. What Tyrese Proctor drafted, another
sure.
big guard, another big guard. I like that pick. I thought, however, and I don't know if it's a matter of not having roster space. I think that really is what it comes down to. I thought we could have, at that point, we still could have drafted Dixon out of Villanova, who's a center, or I think that the guy from Michigan, who's a Russian dude, last name Golden, I
Okay.
think he was available too. I wouldn't have minded that. I, what is the, we're gonna stash this guy and never see him see the light of day.
Yeah,
I
and that's like what, like a Luke Travers. I mean, we did that for him, and then we finally brought him in last year.
yes, and there we go. Now TT can stick to crypto. Yes, he does like to talk about crypto. Oh boy, he can stick to that and the Kardashians, I guess. I don't know. Um, now that everything's kind of the dust is settling, we saw the major move over in Milwaukee. Mike referenced it a little earlier. Miles Turner goes there. They waived Dame Lillard. Haslam and his geniuses over there are going to pay him to not play. Everyone's joking about that because it's
Yeah, hey, they've got an MO now. The Haslam's have
they
an
do
MO.
they do. I don't think that does much for them. It doesn't move the needle because they lost Brooke Lopez. They're replacing him with Miles Turner, and they still don't have Dame Lillard. I
And
don't know
then
that makes them that much better.
and then Indiana doesn't have Turner or Halliburton
Albert,
next year either.
yeah, they're done. That I would be fuming if I were a Pacer fan. We
Yeah.
are in game 7 of the finals. Okay, the injury happens. All right, that was going to be tough. But then you're like, Turner, adios.
Yeah, and he said he wanted to stay in Indiana, which was kind of surprising. But I guess players say that all the time. Well,
I
then I
suppose.
mean, if we're gonna go down the list too of the East, you've got Tatum's out for the year essentially with Boston. New York just hired Mike Brown, so I can't say that's an improvement. Uh,
Oh, no, oh, what a downgrade. Man, he's going to be gone out of there so fast. It's unreal, man.
it's amazing how he's coached both the Lakers and the Knicks now, and is a two-time Coach of the Year, and we still don't have any confidence in him.
Yeah, that, oy vey. Yeah,
So
that's
I
no
mean,
good.
the for next year, the East is wide open. I don't see anybody challenging or like in the regular season. Who knows? Well, I guess I know you're going to talk about Detroit, and I think we need to, and probably Orlando, which are up and
Yep, and
coming.
and Mike and a lot of other people talking Atlanta as well.
Yeah. Okay. So
Atlanta as well. My concern is this, Mike, is that one of these teams that we are underestimating is going to be a challenge. They're going to be tough. They're getting better. This is the Cavs' time. Even if they don't do anything else with the roster, this is their time to get out of the East, and they better darn well take advantage of it. I mean, because Boston is without Tatum, and they're also a shell of themselves. They've had to get rid of other role players to get out of the second apron.
exactly, yes.
So we've got it. The Cavs. This is their chance. This is their chance right now. What do you think about Levert? Karras going to Detroit to reunite with JB, and then Malik Beasley. He was wrapped up in some gambling, apparently.
Yeah. I Detroit. I mean, they're getting better as well. And can they overcome, the JB playoff woes? Who knows? But they're going to be tough. They were tough this year. You know.
If the Cavs have to play a team like Detroit, that's all physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a worry for me.
You have them, and then what about the Thunder too? I mean, if
Well,
we get out of the East,
if you get out of the East, I'm not even. I'm more concerned about even getting out of the East.
having a surprise team beat us in the playoffs, kind of like
Yeah,
Indiana this year.
yeah, exactly. Some other team they know the recipe. So unless our team changes, and they may very well do so, who knows what's going to happen? We could
I
see
do.
some variances here, because where's Hunter going? Hunter, is he going to be sixth man? He's going to be probably the sixth man, I assume. We
Hmm.
need better production consistent production out of Dean Wade. He's got to act like he belongs. Um, and then you've got to stay. Health is obviously important. you can only control that so much. We've also need to push our guys' minutes. They can't go into the playoffs again, only playing like 30 minutes a game, where they can't stay out on the floor when our bench is getting work because these other teams are like, our starters can go 40 plus minutes. You put your bench in there, we're going to rip them to shreds.
Yeah. But in the playoffs, do you need to put your bench in there? That's the game's different in the playoffs.
Right, and that's my point. Our
Oh yeah,
our
yeah.
our starters need to be um,
Better conditioned.
better conditioned. Yeah, they've got to play more. They've got to play more because it was clear, you know, that we were in trouble there, and it was not a good recipe,
And
not a
didn't
good not a good recipe for
you
success.
mentioned before the show LeBron in Cleveland?
If there was a way to get him back and keep Mitchell and Mobley, I'd
Would you
do it.
give up Allen for him?
I'd give up Allen and DG.
Yeah, I'd give
Whatever it
DG.
would take to match the salaries, see ya.
Yeah.
Because I heard somebody else point this out in their exact, and I think they're right. Let's say you get LeBron back for a season, and he's only here for 1 year, and you go out and you win a championship with LeBron, Mobley, and Mitchell. Well, then LeBron retires. You don't have Allen on the books anymore. You don't have Garland on the books anymore. I think you might be out of the second apron. You can take that salary and start bringing people back in and restocking to go alongside Mitchell and Mobley, and you have a championship trophy in the display window.
With LeBron again. You can't win one without LeBron.
I don't give a darn. Do you want a championship or do you want to do it?
He
Who
could be
cares?
like Kenny Lofton coming back to Cleveland 3 times.
I love it. I love it. Jim
Yeah,
Tomey, he came back a couple times.
that's true.
I'm not going to argue with it. I love it.
True.
Hey, whatever it takes.
I
Whatever it takes.
I
Here we
do.
go.
Oh, for all of them? No. Or
Struce
for
or
3 of them.
Hunter. Garland, Struce or Hunter, and Allen.
I don't know about that.
That's tough. Whoa.
That's a
That's
lot of talent.
really ripping it down. That's going to leave us with not much there. I don't know about that. Um, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Cavs. It's going to be
Well,
interesting.
and I do want to point this out real quick too. The
Yes,
Thunder have 3 first-round picks next year.
I know. Oh my God.
3 first-round picks in 2027, and just and then one in 2028 and two in 2029. Not and this doesn't mean they're going to draft all those players, but they can
Right.
package those and get whatever they need to fill whatever hole they have. So that is going to be tough.
It will be tough. Okay, so we'd have to give up 16 million more salary to get under the second apron. Lakers can take it all on, so it'd have to be a 3 or 4 team trade. Oi. Well, I'm going to let somebody smarter than me deal with that.
Sounds like Mike is smarter than both.
Apparently, yeah,
That's
I
some
think
good
he is.
research. Yeah.
Quite frankly, I think he is smarter than I am. Maybe he could be the next Pobo for the Cavs, or he could be the GM, take Ganzi's job. I don't know.
Sure.
Whatever he wants to do there. So moving on, the Browns, Dome Sweet Dome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can
I
tell
mean,
you're excited about it.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I think we've talked about it before. I didn't really care if they renovated the stadium, built a new one downtown, built one in Brook Park. It's going to be a nice stadium. It's not that far from Cleveland. What disappoints me the most is kind of the politics of it all. How, the law got changed in the middle of the night. The Modell law got changed, in the
Right.
middle of the night, and how the government kind of got strong-armed into giving them all this money. And I don't like that part of it. I know
Yes,
it's probably a part of every stadium deal, but it's like, ugh, it just makes you feel cringy.
it does. It absolutely makes you feel a bit cringy. It's everything. And this is how it gets done, unfortunately. I hate it. I hate that that's how it gets done. I wish a lot of this hadn't gone so public with everybody digging in, the people like Chris Ronayne, for Cuyahoga County, and Mayor Bibb for Cleveland. Everybody digging their heels in because they wanted to save face. And it's like, what you need to do, again, I'm not an original thought. Instead of saying, oh, we're losing the Browns to Brook Park and the lakefront, say, this is what we're going to do with the lakefront. Quit
Yes.
talking and start doing.
Yeah.
Quit talking, start doing.
Great opportunity. Yep. To do
It
something cool.
absolutely is. Do you think, let me just ask you this. A lot of people are different a lot of people are upset for different reasons about the stadium move. It could be the costs for and with the project, how the money's being allocated, nostalgia experience, or the expected increase in ticket prices, concessions, etc., tailgating. What do you think it really is? If you could pinpoint one of them, what's the real issue here for
I
folks?
think it's moving it out of downtown Cleveland. I think that's the biggest issue that people have a problem with because majority of the sin tax, a lot of the taxes I believe are coming from Cleveland and not from the county. I could be wrong in that, but so
Right,
people in Cleveland are paying for a product that they're going to have to go farther away for. I think it's just moving it out of downtown. Really, if I could boil it down to one thing, is the biggest issue. People like having it downtown and that experience, and I don't
right,
blame them.
sure. I mean, if you told people, but two things. One is if you told them, look, do you if I said to you, okay, would you rather have an indoor experience or an outdoor experience? And let's say they said, I'd like an indoor experience, but you said, okay, it is not possible in this location to do that. And we have an opportunity as a region to bring more events and tax dollars and revenue to the area. Do you think they still would argue that? They
Well,
would.
I don't think people want the indoor experience either. I
Ah,
think Browns fans like the outdoor experience. So I actually think that was for a
aha,
majority of people a negative as well. But I think if you're going to sell it as a regional product, and I don't think that's bad. Like Atlanta just built their baseball stadium 3 years, 4 years ago, way out in the suburbs, and that's fine. But then you have to fund it regionally too, and that's not how it's currently set up.
right. Right. I mean, I guess what's the fund? The funding is coming from the state. I don't even know where they're getting the money from locally. It seems like it's all coming from the state.
Yeah, well,
And
they're gonna have to. There's a proposal to get 600 million from the county as well, but I believe it's like I think it has to do with the sin tax and how they originally funded it, just how it came from the city of Cleveland and not
right.
from. I mean, really, it shouldn't even just be Cuyahoga County. It should be all of Northeast Ohio. Should really, I think,
Yeah,
pay the
it's
burden of
fair.
this. Like, why is Summit County not a part of this? Well, I bet you just as many people in Summit County enjoy the Browns as Portage County, um, that's Cuyahoga County.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess I'll say if my own selfish reasons, I'm looking for if I can when I can ever actually get to a game due to a scheduling point of view, if I can actually afford it, I'm looking forward to being able to schedule, say I want to go to this game and I don't have to worry about the weather and I'm not worried about it like
Mhm.
being just a miserable day. Um, just from a perspective of weather. So that's my selfish reason for it. And I do think that there is this larger opportunity that we've seen in other cities with domed indoor facilities to get large events like Final Fours,
Super Bowls?
WrestleManias, Super. Get it. Even if you get one, maybe two. Detroit had. I know Minnesota had one at the Metrodome, and they've had one at the new stadium. Detroit has for sure had one has had one at Ford Field, and I'm not so sure. They may have had. You know what? They did. They had the Bengals and the 49ers at the old Silverdome, and so I think that even if they get one Super Bowl, there's going to be plenty of other events that will want to go there that might otherwise go to other cities that have bigger venues. So that being said, let's finish out the 100th episode of Going Nuclear with two different kind of mainstays here. First one, which I don't know that you and I have done, a little yay or oy vey.
Okay.
Today's topic is with July 4th on the horizon on Friday. I am going to give you something that's a traditional 4th of July event. You're going to tell me yay if you're in favor of it, oy vey if you're like, what the hell is this? I'm out. I'm out. All right. We started talking about this a little bit off the air. Yay or oy vey, Mike, on random fireworks before July 4th.
I'm going to give it a double yay. Only because we are going to a fireworks show tonight on, was it July 2nd, from one of the local towns right next to ours. Probably because it's the only time they could book a fireworks show with, all the major ones going on the 4th. Now, if you're just, so that's going to be like a professionally done one. And I
Right.
love fireworks. Now, if you're talking about
That's what I'm talking. I'm
neighbors,
talking about neighborhood. I'm when I say random, I'm
yep.
talking about the people, Joe Schmo in the neighborhood, blowing up random fireworks before July 4th.
I will still, I'll go with the single yay on that one.
Single yay on that one. All right, I'm going to go oy vey. Absolutely,
Okay.
it's noise pollution.
This,
Absolute noise pollution.
this is how I know you're getting old. Noise
I
pollution. You want to go to a Browns game indoors so it's nice and cozy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go with oy vey on that one because, as I talk to you and explain to you, when you have either a dog that barks or a young kid, an infant possibly trying to sleep, and then you've got the dog barking because of the fireworks and waking the child up, and you're trying to, uh, all these things, I'm just stressing. I don't need that. Okay.
Okay.
Yay or oy vey, Mike? Random fireworks after the 4th of July. And is there a date on which it no longer is okay?
I will also go with a yay just because I already mentioned I love
Right,
fireworks.
right,
So this is almost like when do you take down the Christmas tree?
right.
I would say a week. Give it a week for fireworks. A month for Christmas tree, a week for fireworks.
Okay. All right. I'm still going to go oy vey because I'm old and I'm ornery and I'm crotchety.
Fair.
Although professional fireworks, I'm completely down with that. Going to the stadium to see the fireworks,
Yeah,
amazing. You're
agreed.
not. I'm not going to stop those. I love those. Those are fantastic. Used to love going for Hall of Fame week, going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame week, going down to McKinley Monument Park, and seeing like not the orchestras playing. I don't know if they'd get like the like a military band, and they'd play all the patriotic songs and the fireworks. Unreal,
My,
absolutely
my
unreal. Love
favorite
that.
is Blossom. Same thing. The orchestra plays on the 4th, and the fireworks after the show. Everybody's on the lawn. It's usually beautiful weather outside. Yeah.
It's good stuff. All right. Uh, hot dog eating contest. Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Yay or oy vey on the hot dog eating contest on July 4th?
Yay. That is amazing. Just to see how much one person can consume is impressive. It's something I will never do myself, but it is an athletic feat in my opinion. And just you only get to watch it once and it lasts all of what, like 5 minutes. Like, yeah, I'm a big fan.
I am, and I am happy that apparently Joey Chestnut is going to be back in. That's a yay for me as well. That is absolutely a yay for me. I was so disappointed when there was whatever, and I'm pun intended, when there was beef, and so Kobayashi couldn't go up against him. I
Yep.
really wanted to see him and Joey Chestnut at their primes
They're
go
two
up because
two
Joey Chestnut,
titans.
he's going to destroy people again this year. All right, I'm going to go last one on the Yaroy Bay, and then we're going to go to going nuclear. Parades. Parades for July 4th. Yay or oy vey, Mike?
Yay, and I like the local parades. The ones where it's
Oh,
like you're in the small town and it's like the fire trucks and like the local high school marching band, and it lasts all of like 30 minutes. That's my style of parades that I like.
I think if I went to, I'd be fine with it. I'm going to say yay, but I'm kind of indifferent.
Okay.
Do your thing, whatever. It's no good. You know what I like? I like a championship parade.
Yes.
I'd like a
Big,
championship
big yay
parade.
for that.
And I'll share this story from the Hall of Fame parade, which he used to go to on the regular down in Canton. We would go and watch from this person, one of our friends from the community. He had a building that he ran. He was, an apartment building, and he was the landlord, owner, whatever. And they've got helmets painted on the road. You were in the marching band. Did you march in the parade in the
Never
Hall of
the
Fame?
Hall of Fame one. Plenty of
Okay.
local 4th of July parades, but
Okay, but for the Hall of Fame parade, they have the helmets in, so you know when you're supposed to play.
okay.
Okay, and so this guy, Mr. Sklar, he'd yell, "Hey, come on, let's hear it! Play something!" And then he started yelling, "Hey, I graduated from there! Play something!" And then it just got to the point at the end. It was, "Hey, I graduated! Play something!" Not I graduated from here, just I graduated. Play
Graduated.
something. So I'm okay. I'm good on a yay on a 4th of July parade. So that being said, let's get this rolling here. Our final segment of the night, 100th episode of Going Nuclear. Mike, what has you going nuclear this week?
Okay, well, since we just talked about parades and fireworks, and like I said, I love those, but what has me going nuclear is the traffic after those events. When you're just trying to get home and the fireworks ended at like 10 o'clock and the kids are tired and cranky, and you've got to wait 30 minutes just to get out of the parking lot, and then another, 30 minutes on your commute home because everybody's going in the same direction, and half the streets are closed. So, yes, the traffic associated with all these events that I love.
Fair enough. That is fair enough. Okay. Well, I've got two quick going nuclears here. Oh, wait a second. We've got breaking news here. Jose Ramirez, starter for the 2025 All-Star game in Atlanta. That's worthy of fireworks right there. So I'm going to get
Right,
you
well
out of
deserved.
here. I'm going to get you out of here so you can catch said firework. What has me going nuclear is twofold. You asked me about the ESPN Cleveland event. It was amazing. But there was one jack off there who was trying to make some kind of a point. I don't know what it was, who's carrying a sign of talking about one, it was political stuff. Two, he was mixing the sports and the politics, talking about the change of the Cleveland baseball team. I think he said, what does he say? Like Manfred sucks, Dolan blows. I don't know because he likes Chief Wahoo. People who always are trying to bring their stupid protests into fun events. Get out of here. Get out of here. That has me going nuclear.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
why we like sports because it's not politics.
Bingo. Exactly. I want to get away from this stuff. I don't need to talk about that. And the second thing that has me going nuclear is another experience for my trip. People who try to cut in long lines and think there's some kind of special person. We stop at the truck stop in Beckley, West Virginia, the new travel plaza. They rebuilt it. We're waiting in the long line at the old Wendy's, and we're standing there, and I look, and all of a sudden I see these two gentlemen just appear out of nowhere. I'm like, I look to the people behind me like, where'd these people come from? I don't know. I'm like, what is going on? And so I go up to these folks now, and I'm trying to do this in the nicest way possible. They were of some other foreign, native land, right? But they're here, whatever. And I said, excuse me, the line doesn't start here. It starts back there. We were with him. They're pointing to this big dude. I'm like, no, you weren't. Oh, no. We were then. No, you weren't. You go to the back of the line. You go to the back of the line. Whoa, 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 whoa. And they finally, okay, you say, sir. And then eventually they walked out. They left.
They didn't even get in the back of the line, huh?
No, they
Didn't
left.
get these.
And the guy in front, I was like, oh, you hear that? He said he was with you. He said he cracked up. The dude cracked up. We were with him. No, you're not.
Well,
No.
good on you for calling him out on that.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, Aaliyah, she said I was embarrassing her.
So that's what dads do.
That we do. I had to call them out. I couldn't let them steal a line. It was a long enough line as is to get the stupid Wendy's. And quite frankly, if they all need to take a lesson and be run by the people who run Chick-fil-A. Why don't they turn all the Wendy's into Chick-fil-A so they run smoothly and you can get through the line a lot faster? I don't understand this. I can't figure it out. But nevertheless, it was all good. So that is what has me going nuclear. So, Mike, thank you very much for being here. I'm glad to have you back from vacation, especially for our special 100th episode. Want to thank everybody from the Fanatical Elves Network, Fans First Sports Network, everybody who's supported us all along. Mike in the UK, love that you've been on. Thank you for commenting. And everybody who's been a part of this show from the beginning till now. Madison Delaney, she filled in. She was my original co-host. She filled in a couple weeks while you were gone. Craig Fountain, Buzz Sports Cleveland, who helped start up the podcast. And we've had so many great guests, and we will continue to give you a lot of great entertainment and all of my ridiculous takes.
Well, congratulations, Ethan, on 100 episodes. That's amazing.
Well, thank you, sir. Go have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your fireworks. Have a great 4th of July. Again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mike. It has been a wonderful show. So, for Mike Rasinski, I am Ethan Greenberg, and you have been tuned in to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land on the Fans First Sports Network and the Fanatical Elves Network.